everyone. Thank you for tuning in again. I trust that some of the strategies we talked about last time were helpful for you to manage and control, or at least minimize, some of the anxiety that you've been feeling. And I thought this week we would talk about anxiety in children. I think that's an important topic to talk about. And you know that we're born with two innate fears only: fear of falling and fear of loud noises. And every other fear is actually learned behavior. So you can see the impact that we have as adults, caregivers, grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles on children, because they're watching us for example, how to handle stress. So it's really important in order to manage children's anxiety, that we manage our own. They're watching. They have no other role models except the adults in their lives. So it's really important that we really try to get the anxiety that we're experiencing as managed and under control as possible. So with that in mind, there's some things that we could talk about today to try to minimize children's anxiety, play games with them. I suggested a breathing exercise for the adults. So there's a different kind of strategy for children. And you could have them use their 3 of their 5 senses. And pick out 5 things that they see in the present moment, 5 things that they hear, and 5 things that they could touch. And so it's a bit of a game. It gets their mind off the future, and it calms them as well. I sometimes recommend blowing up balloons is helpful, because it uses a lot of energy. It gets them doing something in their mind off it. Playing games is great also, and keeping as much structure and routine for your children is really, really critical. And the other piece of it that I tell adults a lot is, and not just around the virus or things like that, but be careful not to discuss adult issues in front of them. These are things that their little minds cannot focus on, cannot comprehend. It scares children if they hear us talking about our financial issues, the fear of losing jobs. They just cannot comprehend. They get fearful. Will we have a home to live in? Will we have a car to drive? Will we be able to afford food? And these are things that children should not have to be worrying about or thinking about. And I think we know children enough to know that they will come up with some pretty dynamic questions, that's for sure. So I would keep it age appropriate with your answers, be consistent with your messaging, and really be careful what you say and how much depth and detail you go into that. Just let them be children. Tell them these are adult things that we're working it through, we're thinking it through, we're going to be okay on the other side. So I think that's really, really important. So really the key now to managing children's anxiety, because remember the 2 things we were born with, fear of falling and fear of loud noises. Everything else is learned behavior. So what kind of messaging or languaging do you want to use for your children? So I caution you and encourage you to be mindful of the things you're saying, the words you're using, and even your body language with your children. I hope this has been helpful. Have a good day.